So the next question that I would like to ask is, we have seen so much of mechanical nuances in this ground variety and how water is getting streamed, and your second picture properly explained about the water streams and how water even seeps and travels in a birds. Like all those pictures were exhaustively explaining how this entire level of water seepage sometimes causes even damage. We are living in a modern era of skyscrapers, buildings being raised in order to prove to the world that the sophistication is the real need of the hour, and a sophisticated way of living, top branded and top class buildings being raised, showing the corporate image and all that. Do you really think these people, before they build such large, gigantic skyscrapers, make a proper soil test about all these tiny little things? Like, let's speak about, you know, the very one country, America, which has got the largest group of infrastructure facilities, and it's a golden land. If you take New York or Washington D.C., or you name a particular place in that very big, massive country, we got a lot of skyscrapers and buildings raised. So, as a person who has got keen knowledge about this, what do you really think, or how the proceedings should be before building such a major construction on a soil? Do they have to make a proper soil test, or in order to protect these grounds, do they have to make or take any special measures so that it ensures proper societal safety? What's your opinion, or what's your take on that corner of information?
These are all recent issues that are being brought up by like the thing. Like many people are realizing it now. Like America already built its skyscrapers well in that, so like we already sometimes face the effects of it. Like there's increase in urban pollution, all these air pollution and stuff, which is affecting the health of these citizens, this people that reside in these cities. So like they want to stop it from preventing it further. So like they're trying to stop basically they want to slow down they don't want to come they want to continue the development of it to they want to because of like how affected it already it's become. Like for example, New York City used to be in a swamp. Basically it was a swamp area. It was a very marshy and a very bad area. They were developing it like anything. In like there's an area called in America called the Gilded Age, where if I do the Decades project again and then I go in the past, I'll talk more about that thing. That age, basically, that area is marked by high industrialization growth, and how like many people are and like the how very few people many people were getting poor, and they were getting jobs that were very little wages, and like they were put into very bad conditions because of like all the filth and stuff. This was like when skyscrapers and everything were going everywhere. So like that is like kind of like that like they didn't even care about the environment back then, that because like they didn't know simply that would cause such a big impact to the environment. Not saying that if they knew it, they wouldn't have done it because like they were going mainly for money there. But like cities now have the regulation to do it for these buildings. Like there are improved building codes and like that. And like that's constantly improving. Like for example, asbestos is like a common insulation product used in the US, and it's put in many homes throughout out the 1950s and 80s, 1950s and stuff. Eventually like the 80s they found out that it's actually cancer causing, and like they phased out the use of asbestos throughout the use of commercial, and now very few exist, though people are still dying from it because they lived in asbestos houses. And like that's like the thing of this is like because of like how like health is, so like the many people are now aware of it and they're stopping it basically. That's what the kind of is happening with the soil testing the soil. It's still, except in like a big place like New York City where it's already developed, like the soil is almost non-existent in many of these. Like they're using artificial soil from elsewhere. So like that's like so like in New York, it's definitely not gonna cause too much of a harm though. Like if it's like a new city that's developed, like they're improving. Like there's a city in the middle of a desert called Phoenix in Arizona. It's like new and like it's expanding. Like they could definitely use the stop, make it safe for citizens. So like yeah.
Yeah. One last question. The education and the departments which would teach the ingredients of this concept is marginally being decreased these days. If you take Indian universities, if you take universities of America, if you take universities of London for that matter, people who are interested to learn about soil, even archaeology for that matter, or geography, have been brought down these days. And only a small crunch group of people are interested to know about all this. And even if they get educated, it is not taken to the further line of a thesis writing or a report making or research on a massive way. So, education being so low in this concept, how do you think the modern generation, which is growing up, will know about all these nuances? Because these things are not going to change by technology. These things are not under any vestibule of modern advancements. The concept of a soil, the concept of a ground, a ridge science, the concept of the water scenes under the ground is always going to be the same for centuries and centuries. But people are reluctant to know about this, and people are not taking keen interest to know and explore things about this. If situation is in that regard, how do you think the current youngsters will get advanced with this knowledge? And how do you think things can be even protected?
Yeah, it's like that. It's right that the people there's decreased amount of these people, and like many people are now going to like computer science or doctors and like stuff. That's like many of the common thing of many people now. So like that is like the common trend. And however, like there's also like there's also could be advancements in these stuff if we go more in it. It's because like all these technology, because it's so much produced with all these coders and stuff, like they're still like gonna be development in all these technologies and products that will further help with these, like robotics, for example. Like they can make robots that do anything, and like one small thing they can do is just have like a contractor like help with robotics to help like examine the soil, for example. Which like is a new technology now.
Hmm.
So like all these things which can help assist with the thing. And like there's no matter what, there'll still be some people that are gonna still be in geography and stuff. And like these new technologies produced by these people will help assist them in these topics. And like there's something, and like with like some of these issues like climate change and stuff, all these stuff, like there's an increase in demand for some people called environmental engineers, which are like basically like engineers that consider factors like the environment and like try to make the healthiest environment, which will definitely learn about all these soils and stuff. And like with the demand of that going up, like probably it can help replace the thing, because like they can use their computer and technical skills to help manage the environment, and they'll work with like other engineers who may not to be aware of the environment, and like they'll basically be like the environmental safety person, which will basically prevent from any project from having too much effect on the environment. So like that is one thing that I've noticed on this.
Right, right, right. Nice answer and good presentation. I really appreciate your tendency of knowledge into this. So the next week, if you
Yep.
have time, you are going to have the
Yes.
presentation that we discussed last, right? What is going to be the
Mm.
scope of the presentation next week?
It's your topic, sir.
Okay, okay, right, right. Any change of plans? Let's say, for example, if I'm freezing my topic for another week or so, will you be interested to do any other topic instead of mine next week? Or is there anything that is flashing in your mind?
I mean, if you want, I can do the decades thing again. This time beyond back in the 1870s to 1910s.
Absolutely, because I think you can give a finishing touch on that because the previous two presentations were really awesome. So something is making me feel incomplete in that presentation. So you can even complete that next week if you would.
Uh, I could theoretically go as far like as 1700s or stuff because like they do like it'll the best will only take up to like yeah, I can do like three prequels, I think. Like up to
Prequel, yeah, fine.
1770.
Yeah,
There's
so
yeah, there's a lot to
then go for it. I mean, keep my topic, put it on shelf. For the next week, you can go for the 17th century or 18th century of America and you can make a presentation on it.
yeah, sir.
Okay, so any other points you would like to discuss, Achit, before we finish here today?
Not really, sir.
All right, okay. Right, so very nice presentation. It was very depthful. Yeah, it wasn't in the proper presentation form with the given fact that you did not have time to do that, but the pictorial representation explanation was really good. Day by day, your presentation is getting scaled up and I'm really happy about it. So next week, we'll see
Thank
the presentation form. Will we be
the
able
deck.
to see the presentation form?
What? Yeah, we'll be seeing the proper presentation.
Oh, presentation. Okay. Right, Achit. So have a nice week ahead and we'll meet next Sunday.
Bye, sir.